أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي كان موجودا قبل حدوث الأشياء ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووسم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم كما قال عز شأن كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت وقال كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف النيات ولا يعزب عنه ما العباد في الخلوات سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحم من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء تعذيبه المسيئين عدل وعفوه تفضل ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين وخير المبشرين والمنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين من ركب سفينتهم نجا واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق وهوى أوصيكم عباد الله بالاعتصام بالتقوى فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى فقال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين صدق الله العلي العظيم الله Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I begin by advising myself and all of you to practice the taqwa of Allah as is the best of provisions. The verse that I recited is from Surah Mumtahana, chapter number 60 from the Holy Quran, ayat number 8. And it's an important discussion, one of the more important discussions in Quran regarding the relationship with people of other faiths. Of course, this ayat may not be very relevant to those who live in all Muslim countries, where predominantly 99% are Muslims living, but it makes more sense and it's more relevant to people like us who live in West, where we are in minority and our religion or people from our background are not in majority. And therefore, what Islam says, if you lived in a Muslim majority country and there were other minorities in them, and vice versa, if you lived as a minority in a non-Muslim country, how should you deal with them? This is an important ayah which addresses that issue. I'll translate as the ayat says, Allah does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of religion and do not expel you from your homes from being kind, righteous toward them, and acting justly toward them. Indeed, Allah loves those who act justly. So, as far as those who do not pose threats to you or do not engage in war against you, have not waged any wars against you, and have not expelled you out of your homes, how are you supposed to deal with those individuals? You're supposed to deal with those individuals according to this ayat number 8 of Surah Mumtahana, chapter 60, with kindness, with righteousness, and with adalat, with justice. Now, of course, you take the ayat, this is the mantuq of the ayat. What is the mafhum of the ayat? If someone has expelled you from your homes, if someone has waged war against you, then it's not necessarily that you go out and reverse the ayat and say, oh, you should be harsh with them as well. No, there are other ahkamat. But this ayat over here is focusing on what? The fact that if someone is not threatening you as far as your religious values are concerned, if someone is not expelling you from your homes and is living and coexisting with you, then what should you be doing? You should be kind towards them, you should be righteous towards them, and you should deal with those people with adalat. Why? There are few points that are mentioned in this ayat. In fact, there are some ayat which also align with this, and I'll tell you the discussion which I have in front of you. Number one, an tabarruhum wa tuqsitu. 5 things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning as far as this concept is concerned. Number one, an tabarruhum, be righteous or show kindness. Wa tuqsitu ilayhim, meaning be just when it comes to dealing with these individuals. Look, Islam did not mention any religion for these people. For what you know, these could be the polytheists. For what you know, these could be Ahl Kitab. For what you know, these could be atheists. For what you know, it could be anyone. Islam just said anyone who has not engaged in war against you and has not expelled you out of your homes, how should you deal with them? You should be righteous towards them, and you should be kind towards them, and you should also at the same time practice adalat with such individuals. In fact, if someone is brought in front of you to be judged, Islam says give them the respite and muhla to justify themselves before you go ahead and pass down any judgment upon them. Ayat of Quran says, وَإِنَّ أَحَدٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. This is in Surah Tawbah. إِسْتَجَارَكَ فَأَجِرُهُ حَتَّى يَسْمَعَ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ. So give them muhlat, give them respite to go ahead and say what they have to say, and so they can listen to you as well. At another place in Quran it says, وَإِن جَنَحُ لِلسَّلْمِ فَجْنَحْ لَهَا. If they want to adopt a lifestyle which is, prosperous and there's reform in it, then of course move along with it. Go ahead and accept it. You do not need to be at odds with anyone for that matter. In fact, it went to the extent by saying, as far as financial aid is concerned, it says, وَالْمُؤَلِّفَةِ قُلُوبِهُمْ. That go ahead and give them, from your zakat. Go ahead and give them from the charities. Any charity there's no issue. But when it comes to the obligatory charities, like zakat, right, which is an obligation on Muslims, it says even that is concerned, there's no issue. As long as what? مُؤَلِّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ. That it will go ahead and do talif qalb for them. It will soften their hearts for you, right? That's the siyasat, or the politics, if you want to see, which you see around the world as well. I want to share this discussion with you, and I want to give credit to the discussion on an article which I saw on a website called Muslim website soundvision.com, and the author is a convert. Wendy Diaz converted to Islam many years ago and wrote this article especially for those, of course, who are converted Muslims, and as well as those who are immigrant Muslims, especially around this time of the year. When we are approaching the holidays, when we are approaching the winter break, when we're approaching the season of, Christmas and New Year's and all those things that are celebrated over here, she says, giving a heads up as to how should you be acting in these particular times, and do not get, swayed away, or you do not get, pushed away or be shunned away, and then not get also be rolling along with everyone else as far as the songs that they're singing and you're going along with them with everything that is happening. Oh, it's okay. It's halal, for example. So the winter holidays can be intimidating for Muslims, trying to preserve their faith and traditions in a majority of non-Muslim land. We feel constantly surrounded, by colorful decor, Christmas tunes, seasonal sales, and the familiar, warm, spiced sense of the winter holidays, right? We all get it, because what? You're going to be getting off from work as well, so you'll have this time off as well. While you're off from work and everyone else is off from work, then you go ahead and plan something. Okay, this is a good opportunity to, for example, take the family somewhere to, for example, relax in these days, not worry about work or anything of that sort. Sometimes we may even catch ourselves humming a Yuletide tune that we have heard millions of times at the grocery stores, and quickly make amends with the remorseful, astaghfirullah, what am I doing, singing all of this. Christmas is for Christians what Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr is for Muslims. So that one sentence really captures the moment. The most wonderful time of the year for us Muslims is that Ramadan, and towards the end of it, Eid al-Fitr. That is what it is for the Christians. That this is the most wonderful time of the year for them. Not only Christians cherish the holiday season, but also people of other faiths and even atheists. So those who don't even believe in Christianity, not realizing that this is purely a Christian holiday, why they're celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, everyone else is also enjoying as far as this holiday is concerned. They use this time as an excuse to gather, give gifts, eat, and be merry. This is what the spirit of these holidays is. While Muslims don't celebrate Christmas the way Christians do, right? We don't go out of our way to go ahead and decorate the trees in our houses. We don't go out of the way dressing up as Santa Claus, for example. We don't go out of our way. Maybe some people do. You say, Maulana, what are you talking about? We don't go out of our way to go ahead and do all of these things to completely replicate what is happening in a normal Christian house. You know, the rushing toward the stores to buy these trees. You know, the trees are now running out, so we need to get one as soon as possible. And then the ornaments that go upon it, and the concept that Santa will come down, and all that stuff. You know, we see that that's something which is not done in our houses. We usually normally don't do these sort of things. But nonetheless, we see that others are doing it while we don't celebrate the Christmas the way Christians do. You know, given many family members of those converts, those who have converted to Islam, their family members may still be what? Christians. They have they have come over to Islam, they have embraced Islam, they've now become Muslims, but they still have many family members who still subscribe to the previous religion. Kind of like the time when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, you know, when he brought Islam, many of these people were what? Converts. In fact, everybody was converted, aside from those few that were with him, but everybody was converted. Every new Muslim was a convert. They practiced polytheism prior to embracing the religion of Islam. And many of them had what? Relatives who still were polytheists. So we have the story of, you know, Utbah and all of those in the Battle of Badr, how father and son are fighting against each other to that extent. You know, they're waging war and they're holding up swords against each other. So a converted brother said that during his first Christmas, so he converted to Islam, and now this is his first Christmas, he was rigid, he was strict. But after his sister began celebrating Eid with him every year, his non-Muslim sister, he changed his approach. He said, I believe in reciprocity, that I should be doing what they're doing to me, and will go to my sister's house, for example, to eat on holidays like Christmas. But it just includes eating and fellowship and no other thing aside from that. I don't celebrate this holiday, but I do celebrate family. So this was an opportunity for me to be with my family who are still Christians. I'm the only one who has converted. They all are still Christians. Just imagine how difficult it must be for them. You and I can get away. 'Tis the season to be Muslims. Perhaps this is why even Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, accepted gifts from non-Muslims and respected their tradition. The new community of Muslims around Prophet were like the converts of today. As I mentioned, they were learning how to live, you know, Islam by keeping their ties with their kinship, their family members who were still polytheists, who still did not subscribe to religion of Islam. There's a tradition actually in one of the Sahih Sitta, Sunan Tirmidhi, narrating from Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, I'm not going to go in the validity and the authenticity of the hadith. I'll just narrate because it's been narrated in one of the 6 major books of Ahl Sunnah. Inna Kisra wa Qaisar wal muluk ahdu ilayhi fa qabila minhum. That the Prophet and his used to accept gifts from the Caesar, from the Kisra, which is of course in Iran, the ruler of Iran, the ruler of Rome, and the other rulers around Arabia, where Rasulullah had sent, for example, letters of invitation. When they would send any gifts to Rasulullah, according to this riwayat, Rasulullah would go ahead and accept these gifts that were sent by them. The Prophet and his companions understood the importance of good manners, even when dealing with those of other faiths. You think, why would Rasulullah do something like this? And then in turn, does that give us permission today? For example, if we were to exchange gifts with non-Muslim friends, we always do it. We do it all the time. You give gifts. Of course, sometimes when you receive a gift which you can't use, that's where the problem arises. Maulana, my coworker has given me a bottle of champagne, for example. Coworker has given me a bottle of this, for example. What do I do with it? Of course, drinking it is haram. Should I give it to someone who drinks it? You can't do that either. to destroy it, for example, then of course, it's worth something, there's value upon it, and all that stuff. The fiqh law explains the reasoning behind it, and we should live with that. But why did Rasulullah receive some of these gifts? Here you'll understand. Any missed opportunity to interact with family, friends, and neighbors are missed opportunities to educate them. The reason Rasulullah would be receiving these would be to in turn educate these people. Why? It opens up a door. I receive something from them, now I can reciprocate and I can go ahead and send something back to them. And when I send something back to them, there will be also something included as far as the Islamic teachings in it are concerned. The fact of the matter is that most Christians we encounter on a daily basis have no clue about what Islam teaches. Why? Because their whole understanding of Islam is through CNN or BBC or Fox News and all of these media outlets. That's where they're learning the first-hand information from Islam, or the Dummy's Guide for Islam and Muslims, for example. Might be some good things in there, but nonetheless, this is where they're receiving their information from. You can't really blame them for having this sort of prejudice and stereotype about Islam if they do have one. So they do not know what Muslims believe in. They do not know that Muslims believe in Jesus Christ. They believe that he was a great prophet of Allah, and that we believe that his miraculous birth, which is explained in Quran in chapter number 19, Surah Maryam. We cannot even call ourselves Muslims if we do not believe in Jesus, right? Because our belief in all of the Anbiya is equal, and of course Khatamul Anbiya, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He's the seal of all of the Anbiya. While not celebrating Christmas wholeheartedly, with Christmas trees and dressing up as Santa and grossly over commercialized aspect of holidays, which sometimes we actually do get lured into the over commercialized aspect of it. However, we should be sensitive toward their beliefs, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in Quran, La yanhaakumullahu anil ladina lam yuqatilukum. The ayat which I had recited for you in the beginning. Allah does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of religion and do not expel you from your homes. Allah does not stop you from what? Does not stop you from being righteous towards them and acting justly towards them. Indeed, Allah loves those who act justly. So what does Islam want from you? According to this ayat number 8 of Surah 6, chapter 60, Islam wants you to be righteous, kind, and act with justice when it comes to even non-Muslims. Allah is so indefinitely merciful that even when human beings deny his oneness and his attributes and associate partners with him and consider someone to be the son of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still bestows and fulfills their needs and grants them free will, that they still enjoy lifestyle in this world. Our religion exhorts us to treat Christians and the people of other faiths with compassion. That's how this ayat of Quran is legitimizing, telling us and exhorting us. We should expect just the same level of respect and neighborliness as we want from them as we partake in our own celebrations. For example, if someone is coming and stopping you from your celebrations, has anyone ever stopped you from the Eid Salat, for example? Has anyone stopped you from Ramadan and fasting during the month of Ramadan, for example? Has anyone stepped in the way as a congregation to stop the commemoration of the Ayyam Aza in Muharram and Safar and the processions that come out on the day of Ashur and on the day of Chehlum and on the other days throughout the year? There's so many processions. Alhamdulillah, they continue to grow. Does anyone stop you from doing so? There might be here and there one or two people who are opposing it, but as a whole, this nation, or as a whole, the government does not have any issue. There's the freedom of religion to go ahead and practice however you want to. Of course, although our festivals are not quite as in your face as more commercialized Christian celebrations in US and Canada might be, non-Muslims respect our right to worship, and for the most part, they even appreciate some of the things that we do. So, our scholars instruct us that there is no harm in saying good things and even exchanging gifts with non-Muslims during their festivals. When we exhibit this tolerance, it is more likely that they will reciprocate this. They will go ahead and do the same to you. The holidays should be a time of mutual understanding and kindness. And the ayat that I recited, وَمُؤَلِّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ. Even a portion in your wajib charities could be given to go ahead and draw their hearts closer to you. About Sila Rahim and relationship with people, we discussed a hadith in which Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, he said, neighbors are three groups. So this is coming from your neighbors, right? How many of you have Muslim neighbors? Some of us have. But majority of your neighbors are non-Muslims. So he said neighbors are three groups. First group, your relative. He has three rights. So if this neighbor is your relative, there are three rights. Right of neighbor, right of Islam, and the right of blood relations. Right? These are the three rights that he enjoys. Second group is one who's not related to you. This person enjoys two rights. Right of being your neighbor and right of Islam, because this person subscribes to Islam. And the third group is those unbelievers who are not related to you. What is the right that is still they enjoy? Right of being the neighbor. And what is the right of being a neighbor? Amirul Mu'mineen, in that wasiyah that he leaves behind, that he gives after being struck by Ibn Muljim. Imam, when he gives the wasiyat, he talks about it. This is quoted in Nahjul Balagha as well, where Imam mentions that wallah jiranakum, by God, as far as your neighbors are concerned. Your neighbors are concerned, Rasulullah spoke so highly of your neighbors. Did not mention Muslim neighbors or friend neighbors or relative neighbors or any of those neighbors. So highly of your neighbors to the extent that we thought he was going to go ahead and, put a portion in your inheritance for them. Meaning your neighbors might go ahead and inherit. He didn't do that. But we thought that to the extent Rasulullah went, explaining the rights of the neighbors, that we should be what? So kind to them that the only thing that is left now is to make them be the inheritors, heirs of our wealth, and so on and so forth. So Prophet stipulated rights for an unbelieving neighbor as well as those, of course, who are believers. He said, Ahsin mujawarata man jawaraka takun mu'minan. Be kind toward your neighbors, fulfill the rights of the neighbor. Only then you're considered to be a believer. Otherwise, you're not a believer. And then, of course, he added honor and respect of a neighbor is like the honor and the respect of one's own mother. How much your honor and respect is for your own mother. It says, Hurmatul jar alal jare ka hurmat ummihi. The hurmat and the honor of your neighbor is like the hurmat and the honor of your own mother that you have for you. A person asked Prophet, where should I purchase a house? In the time of, when they had migrated, for example, he said, should I purchase in a town called Jahina or Mazina or Thaqif or Quraysh? Prophet said this. And I guess many of the real estate agents have also said this to you. Iltamisu al-jar qabla shira'id dar. He said, ask about the neighbor before buying the house. So if someone comes to me, Maulana, can you do istikhara or buying a house? I said, look around the neighbor. Before you come and ask me to open up the Quran and tell you yes or no, and you'll follow this, and majority of the time you're not going to follow this, you're going to say, oh, I was expecting a good. You already made up your mind to buy this house. You just want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to also go ahead and do what? A stamp of approval on it. But if it comes out negative, you're like, can I do the istikhara again, for example? No, it says, Iltamisu al-jar qabla shira'id dar. Go ahead and meet the neighbors. Go ahead and see the neighborhood before you go ahead and buy that house. And I guess the real estate agents also tell you the same thing, right? When you're buying a house, look at the neighborhood, look at the neighborhood, look at the neighborhood. These should be the principles of buying the house. Ask about the neighbor before buying the house. And the traveling companion before starting a journey. This is how you should go about as far as your lifestyle is concerned. So, to recap, this ayat of Surah Mumtahana tells us that how we should be when it comes to non-Muslims, when it comes to those who are followers of other religions, as long as they have not waged war against you, as long as they have not expelled you from your homes, according to this ayat of Quran, you should be what? Kind towards them. How can you be kind towards them? By exchanging gifts is one of the means of being kind to someone. You show kindness by giving something to them. Charity, for example, even when it is from the wajibat charities, for example. So Allah makes this horizon, this spectrum is widened, especially those who live in countries such as over here. So therefore, taking part in these celebrations in the seasons of holidays, there's nothing wrong, as long as, of course, you refrain from practices that even the Christians don't practice. Some of the things that have become part of the Christian culture during Christmas time, even the Christians do not practice some of those things, let alone we go ahead and put up those things in our houses. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give us tawfiq and ability to follow the commands and the teachings of Masumeen alayhi salatu wasalam, and hasten the reappearance of our Bayt Imam. Inna asl al-hadith wa abdul al-mu'idha, kitabullah wa billahi min ash-shaitan ar-rajim, bismillah ar-rahman ar-rahim, wal asri, inna al-insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu wa amilu as-salihat wa tawasaw bil-haqqi wa tawasaw bis-sabr. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوبة وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته غضبه وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها وفعن السيئات ولم يجاز بها سبحان من لا يزداد ولا معصي العباد إلا كرما وجودا ولا كثرة الذنوب إلا عفوا والصفحا نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك لا إله إلا هو لطيف العباد بجوده والعباد المذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين وحبيبه سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين بعثه رحمة للعالمين لقد أمركم الله في محكم كتابه بالصلاة على نبيه وحبيبه فقال تعليما لكم وتشريفا لصفيه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وإمام المسلمين وقائد الغر المحجلين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه وسيد النساء العالمين وبذة خاتم النبيين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله صلوات الله عليها والحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليهم الصلاة والسلام اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب الزمان ما هي آثار البدع والطغيان هادم ابن الشرك والنفاق حاسد فروع البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه الكرام ما اتصلت الليالي والأيام اللهم عجل فرجا وسهل مخرجا واكحل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه واجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه وتفضل على أمراء المؤمنين بمزيد التوفيقات وزيادة الإقبال وعلو الدرجات اللهم افعل بنا ما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهله بجاه محمد وآله المعصومين صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين من يذكر فتنفع ذكر أن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله يا محسن قد أطاعك المسيء وأنت المحسن والمسيء فأمرت المحسن أن يتجاوز عن المسيء فتجاوز عن قبيح ما عندي بجميل ما عندك يا كريم يا الله استغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائمة قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار بجاه محمد وآله الأطهار الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد رب صل على محمد وآل محمد سمع الله لمن حمد الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد رب صل على محمد وآل محمد سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف الله أكبر الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صل على محمد
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Jummah Mubarak to all of you. Let's recognize the sponsors for today's Jummah lunch. It is the family of Mr. Mahbub Hussain and his brothers, Brother Mustafa Hussain and Masoom Hussain. And all the brothers and their families are sponsors. Please recite a Surah Fatiha for their parents, Zainab Hassan Ali and Haji Hassan Ali, as well as a Surah Fatiha request for Syed Al-Raza Imam Ibn Syed Aqa Hussain. Surah Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Rabbil Alamin ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu samad lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Just very quickly, announcements. There's nothing much going on this weekend, especially aside from the annual fundraising dinner, which will inshallah be on Saturday, tomorrow, starting at 6 p.m. Of course, the program has been sold out, meaning the tickets that we had in mind, how many people we can accommodate. Alhamdulillah, community showed real and good enthusiasm, and all the tickets that were put up for sale were sold out. So thank you very much to the entire community for the first step of booking your tickets and coming to the program, inshallah, tomorrow. And then, of course, pouring your donations, which is the next step, inshallah, as far as this program is concerned. There's also, for those who are bringing their young ones, the childcare will, inshallah, be provided for them as well. Also, following week, the week of December 25th, 26th, and 27th, these 3 days, inshallah, we will be commemorating the series of majalis for the shahadat of Janab Fatmatul Zahra Salamullahi alayha. So Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, and 27th, 3 nights, inshallah, program details will go out in the weekly email. Sadiq School PTO has organized a big sale again outside, so do take advantage of that. All the proceeds go toward activities that are put together by the Sadiq School PTO. You had something that you wanted to add? Okay. That's just a reminder, tomorrow, Fajr prayer at 6 a.m. and Sunday, Fajr prayer at 6 a.m. Come and join us, inshallah, for both of those days. Saturday, we have Quran Halqa after Quran Circle, where we sit down and read Quran and tafsir of Quran. And then we have breakfast downstairs. Sunday, the same thing. Today's Jummah lunch is sponsored by Mahbub Bhai and his brothers. Fatiha for their parents, Zainab Hassan Ali and Haji Hassan Ali, and all marhumin mu'minin mu'minat. I read that. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. But no harm in reciting Surah Fatiha once again. Please recite another Surah Fatiha. Let's remember those who are in need of dua by reciting Dua Sehat, this ayat karima from Surah Namal 5 times together, especially for Majid Bhai. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amman yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. Amman yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. Amman yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. Amman yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. أَمَّن يُجِيبُ الْمُضْطَرَّ إِذَا دَعَاهُ وَيَكْشِفُ السُّوءَ وَيَجْعَلُكُمْ خُلَفَاءَ الْأَرْضِ أَإِلَٰهٌ مَّعَ اللَّهِ قَلِيلًا مَّا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Let's proceed to Salatul Asr. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد كذلك الله ربنا الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده الله أكبر أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام. وأسأله أن يتوب علي توبة عبد ذليل خازن فقير بائس مسكين مستقيم مستجير لا يملك لنفسه نفعا ولا ضرا ولا موتا ولا حياة ولا نشورا. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من نفس لا تشبع ومن قلب لا يخشى ومن علم لا ينفع ومن صلاة لا ترفع ومن دعاء لا يسمع. اللهم إني أسألك اليسر بعد العسر والفرج بعد الكرب والرخاء بعد الشدة. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الجزيرة. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين وسيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيد نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم يا سبط الرحمة وإمام الهدى الحسن والحسين سيد شباب أهل الجنة، السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي، السلام عليك صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك إمام الإنس والجان، السلام عليك شريك القرآن، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أعوانك وانصارك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
बच्चे गए ना वो कल आ रहे हैं शाम को 7 बजे की फ्लाइट है कहाँ गए हाँ वो उर्तला और सब गए हैं ना कल वो सेम फ्लाइट सब आ रहे हाँ वो सब आ रहे अब शायद देखो उसको लेने जाने का अगर हुआ तो फिर मसला हो जाएगा हमें हुक्म कराया वहाँ पे
So that's why I was leading to that. A lot of times
है भाई मौलाना ने दिया नाम के एक बार तो ये मौलाना Syed Rıza İmam İbn Syed Aka olsun. Bunu işe iyi başladı bir. Kim yani? ના બધું જે છે ને હમણાં આપણે કહ્યું ને યા મેં જે કહ્યું બધું રેકોર્ડ છે બધું ચીજ રેકોર્ડ થાય છે અહીંયા હોલના અંદર જે બી એક્ટિવિટી થાય છે બધી કેમેરો રેકોર્ડ કરે છે સમજી ગયા રેકોર્ડ કરે છે જુમ્માની નમાઝ